Some of you may know me already. My name is Katie Russo. I am the Assistant Director of Intercultural Programs. And so I'm here to introduce Big Howdy, but I'm just going to go through some of the logistics of our presentation today. So Flower, could you go to the next slide, please? Excellent. And so, oh, it looks like my picture got shifted, but that's okay. So this session is being recorded. You probably saw my recording pop up. I always have to remember to record the session. So please do not start a recording on your own. One of the reasons I ask that is because if you try to start a recording on your own, it messes up our recording. We want one seamless recording. And the reason why is because we're going to post this on YouTube for you to be able to rewatch this or maybe send it to a friend who missed the presentation, and you can share the link with them. Anyone who wants to watch it, maybe your mom wants to watch it, to see all the cool things Big Howdy does for our students. Anything like that. So we'll be able to send you the link and it'll be posted on our International Student Orientation webpage after the session. So if you accidentally, or if you hit the button to start the recording on your own, it stops our recording and then we don't get to have that presentation. Please keep your camera and microphone turned off. At the end of the session, we'll start taking questions, and we'll do that by the raise hand function, or you can type in the chat function at the end of the session, and we'll manage that. So we'll give you the opportunity to ask Darren and Jordan, our guest speakers, and so you'll be able to ask them questions either by speaking into your microphone and turning on your camera, or you can type your questions into the chat box, and we'll open that up at the very end. Closed captioning is available. And so, like I said, it looks like my picture got shifted. Sorry, guys, I'm not always the most tech proficient. But you can see there's 3 little dots at the top of your screen. I put a little red circle around it. You can click on that button if you need some extra language support. If you click on those 3 dots, you'll be able to see a couple different options, and you can click on closed captioning and you can have your language in your chosen language printed across the bottom of the screen. So you can have those words printed across. But now I'm going to turn it over to Darren and Jordan, and they will be able to present to you all the services they provide. So, oh, it looks like they are together. I did not know they were going to present together today. So they are Team Big Howdy, and I will let them present.
Hey, hello. How's everyone doing? My name is Darren Clements. This is Jordan Pollock. And we are coordinators of the Big Howdy organization. And we've been doing this for several years, I think since 2017 at UT Dallas. Just we're, just a group of organizations trying to welcome international students at UTD. We have a video that we'd like to show you. I think that's the next slide, Flower, if you want to go ahead and show that, and then we'll talk more once that video is shown. I don't think there's any sound to this.
यूनिवर्सिटी में जाएंगे
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. It doesn't look like there was any sound to that, but at least you got a little taste of just some of the video, the pictures of what we like to do, and we like to have a lot of fun with students. But our main thing is just to help you guys get acclimated to American culture, life in Texas. Many of you will be coming in the summer, and it's very hot, and just we've been, like I said, we've been doing this since 2017. And what we are is we are just a big group. We're not actually, Big Howdy's not an organization itself. We're just a collective group of organizations and community partners that get together just to welcome students. We also work side by side with the international student organizations, Indian Student Association, the Chinese Association, Iranian Association, all the international organizations. We try to help and come alongside to assist you guys with all sorts of services, and so to help meet the needs that you have, come alongside the ICP and Letitia and Katie and Tamara at UTD. They do a great job, and so we just try to help come alongside them to assist them in any way we can. And the main thing is we have just to provide a home away from home for you, and to help you have a positive experience during your time here at UTD. Go on to the next slide, Flower, if you don't mind. We're going to go through, try to work through some of the services here's just a few of some of the services that we do offer. Airport pickups is where we first meet a lot of you and at the airports. And we'll talk about that. We also provide a furniture program. The school helps us with that. English conversation classes, we have both online and in person. And we have a friendship partner. We'll talk more about that. Home groups, and then we'll just go through a list of the student organizations. So that's kind of a general, outline of what we're going to talk about. And we have other services as well, but these are the primary ones that we offer to you. Please go to the next slide. We'll begin with airport pickups, and this is Jordan, and he coordinates the airport pickups. So I'm going to let him talk about that.
Hello, everyone. So as Darren said, my name is Jordan Pollock, and I help coordinate our airport pickups, which means I get to talk to a lot of you who want to be picked up for the airport. This is a free service for students attending UTD. This is something we've been doing the last 4 years, and we have many local volunteers who want to help and participate and come and pick you guys up from the airport and take you to wherever it is that you're staying when you first arrive. And so we do pickups from both locations here in Dallas at our DFW International Airport and our Dallas Love Field Airport, which is a little bit smaller, and a lot of our international flights don't come through there. But if you were to go somewhere, you would be picked up from most likely the Love Field one. But most of you do come through and you come to DFW. And so we train our volunteers on what that looks like to come and pick you guys up in the airport, because there's some timing. The airport is a little bit further than what a lot of you think it is. It could be 45 minutes to an hour drive from UTD. And so we like to do this because honestly, our transportation here, our city transportation, once you get here, you can figure it out. But if you were to arrive in DFW and take a DART or something, it could take you hours to get to just UTD in Richardson itself. And so this is an easy way for you to be picked up straight from the airport, taken to your drop-off location, because I know when you guys arrive, you guys are tired. You don't want to stay up any longer than you need to and get some good rest and things like that. And so, if you haven't gone to the Big Howdy website or haven't filled out the form that ICP has sent out about Big Howdy airport pickups, I really encourage you guys to do that. Again, this is a free service for you. So yeah, so that's our airport pickups.
And we do have, he didn't talk about it, but we're blessed to actually get to do this this year. Last year, because of COVID, we couldn't provide this service. So we're very happy to be offering that service again. But just be reminded that we are taking precautions to keep things safe, wearing masks, social distancing. And so, but yeah, we're happy to do this service. The next service that we have is furniture giveaway. And this is, we have a CubeSmart storage unit facility that's close by the campus. And the school is very gracious in providing that to you guys for donations, furniture donations. It's a year round. It's not just a beginning of the semester event, but the furniture we collect year round, 365 days a year. We collect donations that's free for you. And we have the storage unit that we put these furniture and houseware items into. And so we do have that on our website. If you go to utdbighowdy7.com, you'll see a furniture giveaway registration. And we'll be opening that up in the fall for you. And we don't have a date set for an event yet, but we'll be talking about that, and you'll hear more about furniture in the future. So, although there is, we get furniture year round, usually that we try to do a kickoff event to get you as much furniture as we can, but items are very limited. And there's so many students that will be coming, but just be assured that if you don't get anything right off the bat, just to be patient and continue to reach out to us, and we'll provide furniture for you. And we have couches, chairs, desks, lamps, even small, like I said, cookware items, utensils, dishes, and things like that. So we have a lot of volunteers at Big Howdy. We probably have over 1,000 volunteers that help you guys with your transition to life here. And so this storage unit, a lot of our volunteers have access to that storage unit. It's just not me or Jordan. We have other people that can help you with that year round as well. And so please check that out, and just know that service is always available. Not just at the beginning of a semester. I know a lot of students get very, maybe they'll get impatient because nobody reached out to them. Just know that we will help you as we get furniture available and as we work through our list of student signups. So we'll probably, the registration, because there'll be so many potential students coming this fall, we'll probably have to limit the amount, and we haven't quite figured that out yet. But the registration form, usually what we do is if we have too many people that register, we kind of randomly select. It's like a drawing for 50 to 100 of those students who will get selected to receive furniture right at the very beginning of the semester. But we do keep that list and work through that list throughout the year. And so just know that. I always have to reiterate that. So just patience, be very patient when it comes to furniture, because there's so many students, and a lot of those, every student has needs, because most of the apartments that you will find near the campus, a lot of you won't live on the campus. Some of the more affordable housing is near the campus and on the 883 bus route. And all of those apartments are unfurnished. They don't have furniture there. So you will need to provide furniture for that. And so this is just one service that we do offer with the help of the campus, and we're so appreciative of that. So, and just jot down any questions that you have, and feel free, like Katie said at the end, we'll have a time for a Q&A if you have questions about that, in case I missed anything. All right, Flower, if you want to go to the next one.
All right. Also, I see that we've had several people who have just joined us. So just a quick reminder, if you joined, make sure your camera and mic is off, and that we're going to answer questions at the end of the presentation. And so if you'll wait until then to turn on your mics, and even then we're going to use the raise hand function for that. But the next thing we're going to talk about is English conversation classes. So this is a way for those of you who want to practice your English, or maybe you're really proficient in English, but you know, it's probably not your first language, and so there may be some hesitation, and you want to get more comfortable using English. This is a great thing to come to. As you can see, they're going to have classes on Mondays from 12 to 1:30 in the SSA, which is the Student Service Annex building, and then Thursday from 12 to 1:30 in the same place. And if you would like more conversational English and just meeting with someone one-on-one to kind of walk through and talk in English to kind of help build that confidence with it, they'll have online classes on Thursday at 8:30, but then they have conversational partners. This is where you can meet with someone for coffee or tea or whatever, and be able to just sit down and have a conversation. These are all volunteers who have, many of them have been doing this for a long time. And so they're able and confident in their own teaching skills that they can sit with you and kind of work through questions you may have, or what does this saying mean when we say y'all? What does that mean? Or howdy, what does that actually mean? Which is, how are you doing? But many people, even people from Texas, don't know that's what howdy means. But there's a lot of different things. English is not an easy thing to understand. Many English speakers still don't speak proper English. So this is just a good way to make friends and to build your confidence in learning how to speak English. Or some of you may have families and you want your families to come and be involved in those classes while they're here. And so that's just an opportunity and a service that we offer here at UTD. So.
And it is a free service as well.
Mm-hmm.
We don't charge anything for any of the Big Howdy services that we do. So just know that that even if you have a like Jordan said, a family member that wants to take part in that, we do have the online classes available. We have like Jordan said, some of these are experienced ESL teachers. Many of them do accent reduction. I know some of you you may think you're very proficient, and you may be, but the accent may be a little bit different when you get to America. And so we have accent reduction teachers that can help you, even one-on-one, to help prepare you for a job interview, and so, or something like that. So just know that this service is available and it's free. So, all right, the next slide we're going to talk about is a service that we have is what we call friendship partners. And I would have to say this is I'm the advisor for one student organization, ICF, and this is the Friendship Partners is a big program that you find on our ICF website. It's icfutd.org or .com, and this is one of the best because this partners you one-on-one with an American. And you as a student will be partnered with either a single American or their family. And so it's just, this is literally can be your adopted American family, if that's what you want. And so I've seen this many times. Students sign up, and many of you are here as masters, grad students are only here for a couple of years. But when it comes time to graduate and walk across the stage, many of your parents and family can't come to watch you, to support you. But friendship partner families are always there for you. And so it's a good time of support, home away from home for you. It also helps learn about our culture, and you can share culture, share food with each other, practice your English, and the kind of the requirements we have for this is for you to meet in person, or if you're not able to come in the fall and you're overseas, you can still sign up and this you can get online and set up times to meet with your friendship partner. And so, but it's a great opportunity for you to also, I would say, even begin your networking. Because many of you, I think, have one thing in mind. You want to get out, graduate, and find a job. And so Friendship Partners has that large potential network of contacts that you can have. And so I would highly encourage you to sign up for Friendship Partners, and we will do our best to match you. And even on the registration form, if you go to that form, you'll see that you have even like some hobbies that you like to do or what you're studying. What we try to do is match you with somebody that has like interests, and so common interests, so that you can begin, if it's your occupation, have something in common with that person. And so highly recommend Friendship Partners. And one thing I want to insert here, and this applies to all the services that we offer, is sometimes as an international student, you can find people from your home culture, home country, and it's easy to gravitate towards them, to hang out with them 24/7. And I would encourage you to be intentional about reaching out to these Americans for these services, because it will benefit you. I have not met one student who signed up for any of our services that has regretted doing that. It's always been beneficial for students. I have met students who have regretted later not signing up for Friendship Partners or not taking part in some of the services that we have to offer. So be very intentional about that. And sometimes that requires you to get out of your comfort zone, especially when it comes to our culture and speaking English and stuff like that. So Friendship Partners is a great way, kind of an initial step you can sign up to partner with an American. So, all right, Flower, moving on to the next.
So as you guys will probably see in a lot of our things, we are wanting to make sure that you guys get connected. That when you come to Texas and at UTD, that you are not isolated, that you don't feel alone. And so a lot of our things are getting you connected to people who already live here so that you can have a community here. And so one of those ways is home groups. This is a gathering, depending on depending on which home group you go to. Some of them meet on a weekly basis, some of them meet every other week, and things like home. And this is an opportunity for you to go into someone's home, and they do a lot of different things. As you can see in this picture, there's what looks like a party going on, a lot of fun and excitement, and there's people from all kinds of backgrounds, and that's a huge opportunity that you have to meet people, again, not just from your own culture, but different cultures, and get to share a meal together. You get to learn about each other and build relationships and really expand your network from just like people you sort of know or people in your classes, but to people who are living here and they want to share their lives with you and are wanting you to share your life with them and teach them different things. You know, we have a lot of volunteers who have traveled a lot and have gone to different places, but so they love to learn and love to be a part of, you know, you coming and cooking at their house and teaching them about your meals, or them cooking for you and showing them what an American dish looks like, or and having a celebration of all sorts of things, our different holidays that we have. How do we celebrate and things like that? And they want to learn the same from you. And so this is a great opportunity, again, to make connections with people, to get to know people who may be different from you and get to learn from them and share experiences together.
Yep. And I would also say these are not competing services. If you sign up for Friendship Partners, you can also sign up for home groups, and you can go to our ICF website to learn more about. We have a list of home groups that you can choose. There's a description with some of our contacts on that. You can go ahead and even before you get on the plane, you can reach out and talk to some of these people and sign up for a home group. So home groups is something that it's not really a matching like Friendship Partners is. Friendship Partners, you sign up and you put your information there and you wait to hear from us to match. Home groups, you can go ahead and sign up where you are right now. Get on the website and join a home group, and go ahead and reach out and start talking to some of the people in your home group. And it's like Jordan said, it's just a way to learn. I love this. It's a bigger group of international students from different countries, different cultures, but also a bigger group of Americans. And I'm happy to be doing this again, because we didn't do this at all last year, meeting in person because of COVID, but now we're going to try to open
we learned about today, but we just know that students, sometimes when we open the chat, they have questions about other things outside of the topic. So please scroll up to the top of the chat and get to those links so that they can hopefully be able to assist you with organizing yourselves and your plans as an incoming student. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to get into the chat. Jordan, you had already addressed the question about the registration. Okay, so there's a question here. It says, and I have two monitors up, so if you see me looking two different ways, I'm using two different monitors. So I have a question here in the chat. It says, does the school provide, okay, it says, does the school provide any area, okay, maybe like a rest area, I think. Take a rest at 5 o'clock because I will arrive in Dallas at 4:30, as I know the amount of stores are open around 10. I think what I'm getting from this, and Jordan and Darren, you might be able to kind of add to this. I think this question, it was a little tricky for me to understand, but I know like maybe they were asking about the hours of operations for certain things, because they said, I know that the stores are open around 10. And then they're saying that they arrive at 5. I'm not sure if this is 5 p.m. or 5 a.m. So maybe could you just share, maybe just like in general, what they might expect to find open, like if they arrived, at 5 a.m., what they would be able to access, or if they arrived at 5 p.m. I think.
Yeah, if that's 5 p.m. I guess if they're landing at 5 p.m., stores will still be open.
Yeah.
Like I know Walmart, there's a close by Walmart at UTD. I think it stays open 24 hours. So it wasn't last year, but now Walmart typically stays open 24/7. So
maybe it's, yeah, sorry, please go ahead.
I was gonna say, if they're arriving in Dallas at 5 a.m., then or 4:30, we are trying to encourage everyone to kind of have their accommodations and things set, if that's what they're talking about, before they arrive, so they can hopefully talk to whoever it is that they're going through to get their accommodations, whether it's an apartment complex or housing of some sort, to let them know, hey, I'm arriving this early in the morning. Is there a way that I can go ahead and get keys or go ahead and have something in place so when they arrive, they can go straight to where they are staying? So that way they're not trying to find somewhere to stay for a few hours before they can get to their accommodation.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's what they were trying to ask as well.
And Tamara, excuse me, I just posted the ICP's housing page in the chat. That might be helpful. It has some links to some student organizations and some hotels and resident suites. So if students want to take a look at that link, it's in the meeting chat. There's some student organizations who have helped out other international students in the past by providing temporary housing upon arrival for a few nights, maybe in their apartment. So current students, by allowing you to stay for a night or two. So maybe you can reach out to those student organizations and just say, hey, I get in at 5 in the morning. Could I stay one night in your apartment or somebody's apartment? That might be helpful. So that's in the meeting chat, and you can reach out to some of those organizations. Now, please keep in mind that COVID has changed some of these, this ability to do that, but we have all of that information posted on our webpage. But there are hotels in the area as well if you want to pay for a night in a hotel as well. But that is in the meeting chat too.
Thank you, Katie. And okay, there was just to kind of answer this question and then move on to another question. Just to reiterate that, yes, ISA, which is a student organization that typically did provide temporary housing in the past, they will not be able to provide that, unfortunately, for this semester. Okay, so moving on to other questions that we had. There are questions in here about kind of quarantining and the rules for that. If you do, once again, in the chat, we do have information posted about travel guidelines from the CDC, etc. So just scroll up to the chat, because once people post questions, information gets pulled up. So just scroll up to the chat and you'll see the link that we have provided there that tells you about travel guidelines and even tells you how to find the link for the CDC website that has the CDC approved vaccinations that the CDC will recognize in the United States of America. So please consult that. Okay, moving on. So there's a question. It says the furniture giveaway form is not available. When will it be available?
That's a great question. So yeah, I did put the link on there. The forms will be opened up at the welcome party. That's typically when we kick everything off. We want to be fair for everybody, give everybody equal access to getting furniture. So we keep that form closed until students arrive, until that usually the welcome party. We will have that opened up that day. So that's a great question.
Okay, perfect. And there's another question from Shashanka. It says, do you provide any assistance in finding apartments as we arrive to campus? So I guess, I'll kind of share from kind of ICP and UTD standpoint. So typically finding a place of residence is something that you would want to take care of before you arrive. We do understand that sometimes in that process, you're not able to secure something for the long term, maybe before you arrive. Maybe you just find something for the short term and then you try to transition to a longer term. So Katie mentioned that she put a link for housing resources in the chat. So please consult that link. And that will have our recommendations for your housing options. A lot of students, I would like to say this, like to ask us to name a specific brand of hotel or a specific brand of hospitality. We will not be able to give you a specific brand name as a university. But that is something that in speaking to groups like maybe Big Howdy, and speaking to other students that are here that are actually living in these places, they would actually be a better source to get reviews from them and say, okay, where do you live and what is your experience like? So we're not able to, say go to this person's place or stay in this particular facility because we cannot manage your outcome basically. But you can speak to students, and then they can kind of share their opinions. Darren, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, that's a great comment, because I think we highly encourage that. Even though the school can't provide these, please talk to some of the student organizations first. We had a couple of bad experiences last year during COVID that they tried to get accommodations, but they signed up with the wrong people. And so without conferring with current students, I would highly recommend that. The Indian Student Association is really good about students from India. They have WhatsApp groups you can join to give you some of the information that they have. And just it's just good to talk about, have you heard about this person or what, this apartment complex and management or stuff like that. Even though we can't give out those resources, current students are sometimes the best resource to find out information about that. So yes, and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say absolutely. And just to kind of maybe piggyback, and then we'll move on to other questions that we have. Just in general, if you're seeking apartment or any kind of lodging, there shouldn't be, any kind of fee. I don't know, what kind of scams students might have experienced, but there typically isn't, if you have somebody saying, hey, I can get a house for you, but you need to pay me any money, you need to pay me this amount of money and I will get a house for you. I typically don't see that. I can't speak for every apartment complex, and I know that there might be recruiters out there, but typically you should not be paying. So just be careful. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And once again, as Darren said, ask current students when you get here, then ask around, and you should be able to get some help with that. Okay, so we did have a hand raised. I was just about to call on this person, but I think the hand was pulled down, but I'll call on them just in case they still do have a question. I was going to call on Akil Awari. Akil Awari, if you do have a question, can you turn your mic on and go ahead and share it with us? Akil Awari? Okay. All right, moving on. I do have another hand raised. Aditya Lokapali. Aditya Lokapali, do you have a question for us? You can go ahead and turn your mic on and ask your question.
Hey, hi, Aditya here. I'm from India. And recently, due to COVID issues, I have deferred my admission to spring 22. Okay, and I just wanted to know that before, like after arriving to the airport, like we do have to, what do we say? We have to get the new SIM cards and all. So like how we are supposed to manage that? Like I don't know. SIM cards for mobile.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you clarify? Are you talking about you're talking about a SIM card for a mobile phone?
Yeah.
Okay, Jordan
So-
seems to know a lot about this. I'll give Jordan a chance to answer.
Yeah, so that is one of the first things that many students want to know beforehand. We actually have resources for you guys. I don't think it's on the website yet, but we will have a resource on there about what you need to do and stores available to get SIM cards. That'll be on the Big Howdy website. So we'll get that up there as soon as possible. Our volunteers also get a whole packet about different things, whether it's what information do y'all need to get a bank account or a SIMS card and all of that. So our volunteers will be equipped to be able to help you do that and walk you through that process. Depending on the time of day that you arrive, if you arrive late at night, you might have to wait to the next day to get a SIMS card and things like that. But we will have those resources available. There are stores really close to UTD, really close to a lot of the apartment complexes that you guys will stay or look at staying, where you will be able to go in and get a new SIMS card pretty easily once you arrive.
And also the student organizations. You said you're from India. The ISA does they have they've set up booths in the past for getting a SIM card or bank account. And so they're very, very helpful when it comes to specific students from different countries.
Okay, thank you so much, Aditya, for your question. Moving on, we have another hand raised from Atharv. Atharv, if you have a question, you can go ahead and ask it now. Atharv? Is Atharv still here? Okay, so moving on to other questions that we have. This is in the chat. This question is from Sahil. This says post-airport pickup. Where will the Comet bus drop us?
Hello. Hello, I'm Atharv here.
Hi, Atharv. Can you go ahead with your question, please?
Ma'am, how would I know that who is going to pick me up from the airport on my arrival?
Yeah, so if you fill out the form through the Big Howdy, then depending on which organization, so like ISA obviously has their own form, FACS also has kind of their own form, but we get all that information from them. What we do is we connect you with the volunteer in a WhatsApp group or a WeChat or an email with myself and some of the ISA officers or with other people, but the volunteer will be in that chat. And what we do is we really encourage both of you to kind of put in, hey, my name is Jordan. I will be picking up from the airport, and we send volunteers are told to send a picture of themselves so you know what they look like. And then we encourage you as the student to put in your name, your major, and also a picture of yourself. And so we try to make those connections a few days before you even leave. So that way there's already some communication there to know who's going to pick you up and things like that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Athar. Please understand that, if students are coming in from outside of the United States, just please make sure to check the link that I posted in the chat for traveling into the United States. I don't know where people are coming from, and the rules vary even if you're in the United States in regards of traveling and, wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, but just please, I would just say, just please make sure to follow whatever protocols or guidelines or instructions are given to you so that those that are taking you from the airport, that everyone can be comfortable in the situation. Okay, I do have some more hand raised. I'm going to call on these three people and then I'm going to skip back over to the chat. So I'm going to call on Ayesha Ahmed and then also Rajan Singh and then Rishab Sanghai. So first, Ayesha Ahmed, can you go ahead with your question, please?
Hi, thank you, Tamara. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. I just wanted to quickly revisit this small point. Does UTD ICF provide temporary housing currently for this fall sem? And if they aren't, are they able to ensure airport pickups to our temporary housings that we have booked?
So to answer the airport question, yes, we will pick up students from the airport this semester. And I've seen a lot of this question, so I'll go ahead and address it, is that when we pick you up from the airport, you will tell us kind of your drop-off location beforehand, so we will know where to take you, whether it's to a temporary accommodation, a hotel, or wherever that is, or a permanent location. And so wherever your drop-off location is that you need to go to, we will make sure once you're picked up from the airport, that is where you are taken to. So I've just seen that question a lot in the chat and wanted to address that. We are able to take you wherever we need to in the DFW area for your accommodation. The other answer to that is that we are not really promoting temporary housing this time around. We just due to having walking through the COVID issues and different things like that, a lot of are not doing temporary accommodation. So we're really encouraging you guys again to jump on some of the chats that they've mentioned with the organizations, find out from students where they're staying, how they like it. And even if you have questions about that, you can always contact Big Howdy and we can try to answer that or connect you with a student. So that way maybe they can help in that way as well. So that way we can get your accommodations kind of set as much as possible. And so, yeah, that's just how we're doing things this year.
Yeah, the ICF usually does provide some temporary housing, but yeah, this is kind of an unusual year as people are still very cautious about opening up their homes. And even as Tamara said, like the ISA, they usually do temporary accommodations for students, but they're not able to do that this year. So yeah, I'm just going to reiterate that. And what Tamara said, Jordan said, I will say as well, just please plan ahead for, go ahead and try to arrange as close as possible your permanent accommodation before landing here. But we do, I mean, there's always emergencies and we will do our best to take care of those.
Thank you. That answers my question. I just had one small question that if we are filling airport pickup forms, let's say with like UTD ICF, should we ideally fill it out elsewhere, like the Howdy airport pickup forms? Because they're like multiple airport pickups form.
Yeah, the main airport pickups that we provide is through the Big Howdy. Our ICF does for when we have our temporary housing option. But for you to get airport pickups, I would recommend you go to the Big Howdy website for airport pickups. That way we can guarantee and partner there's no duplications of volunteers. So please, I refer to the Big Howdy airport pickup site.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Tamara.
Yes, thank you so much, Aisha. Okay, next question that we have from Rajan Singh. Rajan Singh, can you go ahead with your question, please?
Hi. Yeah, hi. Good morning, Tamara.
Yes, good morning.
I just wanted to know about the travel route. Can I travel to USA by London because I have booked a flight and it has a layover of 3.5 hours in London. So can I travel by London?
Could you be more specific with the reasoning for asking that? Is it
Because I have read somewhere that UK is in red list and the people coming from UK will be quarantined for 14 days.
Oh, I understand. I see what you were saying. So once again, if you look in the chat, have you checked the chat? There is literally a section there that has, it says international travel, and it has travel guidelines that are posted there.
Okay.
Have you checked that? It's in the chat. That is what I would recommend for you because it has, it says the UTD's COVID-19 webpage, the CDC webpage, and also Dallas International Travel Guidelines, UT Dallas International Travel Guidelines.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'll check
Yes.
it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and the last person from the raised hand that we're going to call on is Rishab Sanghai. Rishab, can you go ahead with your question, please?
Hi, good morning, Tamara, Darren,
Hi,
and
good
Jordan.
morning.
I hope you're doing fine. Thanks for the session. I had a few questions. The first one is, what are some of the things to keep an eye on before we move into our apartment? Like, what things should we keep on our checklist before we move in? And the second one is, what are some of the good electricity suppliers in the nearby so that we can have a like set up the electricity before we move in?
Thank you, Rishab, for that question. If I actually could answer Darren and Jordan, and then I'll let y'all add on. We actually did a video, an Instagram Live with ICF that spoke about how to go about renting an apartment and all the things to look for. So do you have access to Instagram? Do you have an Instagram account?
Yes, I do have.
Okay, I suggest if you go on our Instagram, it's UTD ICP, like for IC programs, ICP, and there will be a video there literally called like how to rent an apartment. And we did it sometime, I don't remember exactly when, but we spoke about all of those things. Like they gave recommendations for electric company. We spoke about the things to look for, you know, kind of what to be on the lookout for. We spoke about your rights and responsibilities as a tenant. So I suggest that video.
Okay, sure. That answers my question. And stay safe, guys, and hope to meet you all soon.
You as well. Hope to see you too, Rashad. Thank you. Okay, moving on to some other questions that we have in the chat. I'm sorry, Jordan, Darren, do y'all want to add anything to that?
No, that you said exactly what I was going to say. I was going to refer to the Instagram Live event.
And speaking of which, we actually do have an upcoming Instagram Live with y'all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Talking about how to buy a car. So for those people who are thinking about purchasing a vehicle, we're going to be joining ICF once again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're able to join us live, great. But if it's not a convenient time for you, it will be recorded and it will be available on our Instagram page, which is once again UTD ICP. Okay, so moving on to other questions. There was a question here about the Comet bus. It says, post-airport pickup, will the Comet bus, where will the Comet bus drop us off? And is there a service to take students to the hotels for their temporary stays? I think if they're asking about the Comet Cruiser, I don't know if the Comet Cruiser goes out to the airport. I don't think it does. And so the Comet Cruiser, you will find, this question was posted by Sahil, the Comet Cruiser is, you'll find more, not restricted, but located to the UT Dallas campus. Now there is something called the DART bus. The DART bus is Dallas Area Rapid Transit, and the DART bus is the mass transportation system for the Dallas area that does go to the airport, I believe, but not specifically the Comet Cruiser, because the Comet Cruiser is for comets. So at UT Dallas, we call ourselves Comets. So the Comet Cruiser is for comets, and it's located, you know, kind of to the campus area. But maybe you're referring to the DART system, D-A-R-T, that is for all of Dallas, and then that does go to the airport. Katie, do you want to add something?
I was just going to say I posted a link to the Comet Cruiser and to the DART website in the chat as you were speaking, Tamara, just to help students understand the difference between the two. But if you are being picked up by Big Howdy, like Darren and Jordan said, they'll get your location where you'll be dropped off, or you can be brought to campus if that's easier for you, I think. Is that correct, Jordan and Darren? And then you could take the Comet Cruiser to wherever your location is, as long as it's on the Comet Cruiser route. So you could take a look at that first link I posted. It's services.utdallas/transit/cruiser. So you could take a look, and there's a lot of apartments on the Comet Cruiser route. A lot of students choose to live in an apartment on the Comet Cruiser route just because it makes it so easy for you to get to and from campus for free. It's completely free for you to ride the Comet Cruiser. That's the bus. And then, yes, Tamara is absolutely right. The DART does go to the airport. And so you can ride the DART. It's not free. The DART is the train system. It's only like $5 though. It's very inexpensive. And then you can ride the DART line. I think it's the red or the orange line. You'll have to look it up. It is on my travel webpage that I posted earlier. And it's only about $5, and you can ride that to Richardson, and then you can take the Comet Cruiser to get to campus from the DART route, which is really cool. It does take a little bit of time. I will say it takes about 45 minutes to ride the DART from the airport to UTD, and then a little bit of time to take the bus. So I highly recommend filling out that Big Howdy form, because that'll be a little bit quicker, because you'll have someone to greet you. And plus that's more fun, right? You get to actually meet a human who gets to talk to you in the car, right? It's so much more fun. So you have a few different options. If you check out that travel webpage from Big Howdy, or from the ICP, you'll see the different options to get from the airport. And we also connect you to the Big Howdy page for their link as well.
Yeah, and just to speak to, I know some of you were asking about alternative options. The DART is definitely one. You would take Orange, and that would take you all the way to Richardson, but then you'd have to figure out what bus needs to go to wherever, whether that be the Comet Cruiser, or you might have to take another one. Kind of depends on where you're staying. You would just have to look at all of that and figure that out. You can also get an Uber and a Lyft. All those things are going to cost you money and more time, but those are really the only alternatives from the airport. Like I said, the airport is not as close as people want to assume. We are probably, 45 minutes to an hour by car from the airport to here. So, and if traffic is worse or anything like that, it can take a couple hours. So it just kind of depends.
Yeah, and I would encourage you, like everybody else, just website, Big Howdy website, to sign up for airport pickups. That's the best. Because Uber, I don't know, because and so it's an American number to reserve an Uber. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I just posted our travel guide. So as Jordan mentioned, there's a few different options. So this shows the different options to get to UTD from the airport, including Big Howdy. So I know we're pushing Big Howdy, but we love Big Howdy because this is such a nice free option for you, and a wonderful service. But there are alternatives if you don't want to sign up for the airport pickup. You do have options. So absolutely, you can choose what you want to do.
And we might add, I know we're running out of time here, but some of you can be concerned about your time. Your flight time is too early or too early in the morning or too late at night. We have volunteers that will do that at all times of the day. So don't let that be a deterrent to signing up for airport pickups.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we do have a question about someone is asking how to join the Friends group organized by Big Howdy. But before I let y'all answer that, I do want to say that there is a question about the travel route. There is something I just remembered. We did an orientation event that actually with ISA, I believe it was with ISA, and Josephine Vita from the ISSO was there, and she was actually, someone had asked that question about the travel route. So if you want to go to our YouTube link, so if you go to our orientation page, there's an area where it shows you where our YouTube videos, like for example, this one is going to be recorded and put on YouTube, as Katie mentioned. The most recent video that was uploaded has Josephine Vita's response in regards to the question about traveling via Europe and what are the recommendations for that. So that was another thing I just thought of. But Jordan and Darren, can you tell people how they can join the Friends group? I know that y'all have several groups. I don't know if they mean like specifically the buddy program that y'all had.
I posted that in the chat. The Friendship Partners program is open now. You can sign up right now. If you go to icfutd.com, there's a link, a drop down for Friendship Partners sign up and international sign up and an American sign up. So click on the international student sign up, fill out the form, and we will match you. We'll have actually an in-person match day on September 12th on campus. So it's a fun time. It's like a little matching party that we'll have. And so, but the form is live right now. So you can actually sign up right now.
Great. Okay, moving on to another question. We had someone was asking about a campus walkthrough. I think, I wasn't sure of the question exactly, but they said, will we have a campus walkthrough like an orientation or the welcome party? So I can speak in terms of for orientation. So if you are able to attend in-person international student orientation, we will not be given a campus tour, you know, because of, well, COVID. That pretty much is the reason. I do know that the Visitor Center, so there's a place called the Visitor Center. They are offering campus tours to undergraduate students. So I'm not sure the classification of the person that asked this question, but undergraduate students, if you go to the UT Dallas website and type in Visitor Center or campus tour, you can actually get an in-person campus tour. But they only have those for undergraduate students. They do also have a virtual campus tour, but for orientation, we won't be doing a campus tour because a lot of students, when they come to orientation, they have a lot of tasks that they're trying to complete, a lot of things that they're trying to check off. And we actually try to allow space for people to be able to take care of other tasks that they have, because we know that we're not the only office that, you know, is helping new students, to welcome new students. You know, your program could have an orientation for you to attend, you know, or other offices. So so the virtual campus tour is what I would recommend. In regards to the welcome party, there typically isn't a campus tour with that, right? Or
Not an official one, but there'll be plenty of volunteers that would probably love to walk you around the campus. So yeah, and that's a good thing about having it on campus, right? So we can, and plenty of volunteers. So please come. And
right.
Jordan, we just posted a couple of things. Somebody came in, might have come in late, so I put the icfutd.com for Friendship Partners on there, and also Jordan. There was a question about how to reach us at Big Howdy, and there's an email that Jordan put on there. Also, go onto the iCampus platform and create a profile on the iCampus, and that way you can chat with our volunteers anytime.
Yeah, and just a quick reminder, because I've seen this come up a couple of times, but if you're a student coming from India, you'll see when you try to fill out the airport pickup form that it is not currently working. There was a mess up on the ISA form. We're getting that fixed. Hopefully it will be up today, later today. So if you just check in the next couple of days, keep looking at it. We're getting that fixed as soon as possible. So that is why it may not be working for you currently.
Okay, great. Okay, looking through the questions, we do have, you know, a lot of questions that we have already spoke on, so I'm trying to find unique questions. The chat does keep moving up, so let's see. Okay, well, there was a question. It says, how can we reach out to Big Howdy if we have any doubts in the future? I'm not sure what specific doubts, or maybe questions, maybe questions about some things, but I know you just posted your contact information in the chat. So for the person that posted that question, Sukriti, if you could consult the chat, you can find your answer there. Okay, we did have some raised hands, and just kind of FYI, the way that Teams work, when you raise your hand, you do have to press another button for it to be lowered. So those who have already asked questions, could you go ahead and just lower your hand, please, so that we can know it is that you have already asked your question, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to go to, thank you. I'm going to go to the raised hand. We do have a raised hand from Simran. I'm not sure how to say the last name. Bake or?
Hi, this is Simran. It's Bake actually.
Oh, Bake. Okay. Okay. Yes, please go ahead, Simran.
Yeah. So my main doubt is, will this airport pickup drop us at a specific location? And if it will, then how long will it take me to reach that location? Like, I suppose there would be many students, and to drop them all at their specific locations, that might take a long time. So I was just wondering what time it will take me to reach my accommodation.
Great question. And so maybe Darren and Jordan, if y'all could address as to whether or not, you know, if you do know, because I know probably some details are still being worked out, but the transportation, when somebody signs up for that, is it like a passenger van that is coming for them that will that kind of like a, you know, like a 10-person, you know, occupancy vehicle, or is it like an individual car that's taking an individual person? I think maybe that could help.
Yes, so most of our pickups are individual. And so like it'll be one volunteer to one student. And so unless it's a larger vehicle, you will be the only other student. If it's a larger vehicle, like a truck or like a large SUV, like there may be two students. So it really kind of just determines on those two things. It also determines when you arrive. If you arrive in the morning, it really may just take you an hour from the airport to get to your accommodation. If you're arriving during our what we call rush hour, it could take you a couple hours because of traffic. And so it just kind of those two things.
Right.
But for the most part, it should just be you as an individual. Now, we may have times in which we have had to have a charter bus, and the charter bus takes you to a drop-off location, which we usually use. There's a car wash near campus that has a lot of space. But at that point, it'll take you like 10, 15 minutes from there with a volunteer. Because we don't, if we use a charter bus, we don't do every student dropping off at a certain location. Because
that's understandable.
So we don't do that. We try to make it as quick as possible for everyone involved. I also saw a quick question about if you need a local US number on the form. You do not. We put that in there in case you need it, but we also accept international numbers for WhatsApp and WeChat and things like that.
Thanks, that answers my question.
Great. Thank you, Simran, for your question. And that is a good question. You know, I guess for some people, they were trying to conceptualize what the drop-off and pickups worked like. I would like to once again stress to the students that are on this chat that we are here with Big Howdy. They are a volunteer organization. They're doing all of these services, providing these services, going the extra mile because they have a heart and a love for students, a heart and a love for international people, to welcome international people into a new space, to help them integrate and get adjusted. I mean, we are just forever grateful to them because we have a wonderful team here at ICP, but I can tell you, we're not large enough to do airport pickups. We wouldn't be able to do it without Big Howdy. So we're very, very grateful. This is a very, a unique feature that at UT Dallas we are able to offer to students because not every university has this service. And, if you haven't had experiences with other universities, you might take it for granted and say, oh, well, this is normal. It's not necessarily so. So this is a very unique feature. We are so grateful for the service, because we know how traveling can be, and then landing in a new place, getting confused. If you are like me and you get easily lost, literally, I say all the time, my last name is West, but it is no reflection on my directional skills. Like, I will get lost in a paper bag. So, you know, it's so comforting that you know that, okay, someone knows where I'm going. I don't even know where I'm going. This person will know better than me, you know, because they know the area. So it's less stress. You're not trying to, you know, stressed out about trying to find where you're going, especially now when we have COVID. You know, you just want to get to where you're trying to get to and just be there and not be trying to having to, you know, maybe just talk to people unnecessarily and just kind of all these things. So we are very fortunate to work with Big Howdy and to partner with them, not only for airport pickups, but for the other services and events and resources that we collaborate on. So thank y'all once again. And these are only 2 people from Big Howdy, but if you see all of them, it's a big group, and we are very grateful.
Hey, Tamara, I was going to ask, and there's one question about the welcome party. The registration form is not yet open, and we did that intentionally. We don't want duplicates of the registration. You guys will see more about promoting this welcome party. Even ICP will be promoting this. So as you see that come in the social media or the email, probably a couple weeks beforehand, we'll probably open up that registration for the welcome party. The reason is we just don't want, because students will sign up multiple times for this and we'll have duplicate information. So we're just going to wait until closer to the time of the welcome party to open that online registration.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Darren. We know that students right now are trying to solidify, you know, their travel plans, but, you know, we know that sometimes things change, right? You know, something needed to be modified. And so, you know, we're kind of giving people time to kind of, when they do register, hopefully they can have more solidified plans so that, you know, whenever they register, we can know, okay, that they will be coming. But as we know, changes happen because that is the human experience of change. So, but yes, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, I think I'm looking in the questions. I think we really have answered a lot of the questions. Some of them, you know, have just kind of been repetitive or kind of been about the same things. Once again, let's see. Okay, here's a question. Okay, so this person posted, they said, for an apartment X, I paid an application fee. Now they're offering to refund as the unit is leased by another person. For the refund, they're asking me to provide my credit card, CVV name, and signature. Is it normal? Okay, so it seems like this person was trying to get an apartment. They paid the application fee, but then, you know, that the apartment complex gave that apartment to somebody else, and they need to refund them the application fee, and they're asking for the credit card number to issue the refund onto, but they're asking for the you know, the 3-digit code on the back and the signature. What do you think, Darren or Jordan?
Well, if you have already paid the application fee, the apartment complex should already have whatever credit card information you used to pay that. And so they should not be asking you to produce that again. They should already have that information and therefore able to refund you directly just using the information they already have. So what I would recommend to you is to contact the apartment and let them know, like, hey, this is an email that I received. You can even forward it to them. Mention who the email is from, because it may not even be someone that works there, and say, hey, this seems kind of suspicious. And so I just want to talk to the manager or talk to someone higher up at the apartment complex before proceeding any further. So I would contact them first because they should already have the card information that you provided for the application fee on file and should not need you to reproduce that.
Thank you so much. And I agree with you as well. Always double check with the apartment, or, someone put lease in office. So a lease in office. You have to be very careful with that 3-digit code on the back of your card. Now, I will say this is in general. In America, if you physically hand over your card to physically swipe it somewhere, let's say you purchase something at a store, right? And you need to go to return something. When you go to return the thing that you bought, they will usually ask you and say, do you have the card on you, ending in whatever the last 4 digits of your credit card number is. Now, I typically have my card, so I can usually produce it. And it is sometimes the case because you physically swiped in a store, you need to physically insert your card. But sometimes some places, you don't need to physically put your card back in again for the refund. They were just like, okay, you don't have the card on you or whatever, we can go ahead and process it. Now, since you did this, I'm assuming online, and you didn't physically do something, they should still have your information. I do know that some places can be funny, like they may not save a person's card number. So I do know that to be the case, because I go to a place and I go there often, but they don't save my card number. Like every time I go, I have to physically swipe, physically give it to them. So, it just depends. But I would say in general, definitely, as Jordan said, be very, very careful about giving out this number. You can just ask them and say, hey, I got this email asking for this information. I already gave my information. Do you not already have it on file? And, kind of see what they say about that. And, just try to take it, sometimes you need to sleep on something to kind of figure it out whether or not you trust it. But it just works different places. It works different ways, different places. So I can't always tell you, but in general, I would say that has been the experiences. It can vary. So some places do save your card information and some places don't. And so if they didn't save it, they may need to ask you for that again. And some people ask you for the number on the back of the card because they want to verify that it is your card. Because if I put my credit card number down, sometimes like in a restaurant, if I go to put my credit card number gets exposed. So anybody can have my credit card number, but not anybody knows what the back part of it is. So on their end, they could be asking it to ensure that you are the card holder. So I would just ask them first, I would just put it on them and say, I got this email, as Jordan said, I already gave my information, do I need to give it again? Or can you explain why I need to give it again? And then see the reason that they give you back. And yeah, so hopefully that kind of gives you, I don't know if it was a direct yes or no answer, but hopefully that gives you something to go off of. Okay, so moving on to another question that we have. Here's a question from someone that says, I found temporary accommodation in Frisco. What could be the best way to reach the university from there?
I just answered that in the chat. If you're coming from Frisco, the DART system doesn't go all the way out to Frisco. So you would have to get an Uber or a Lyft or cab or something like that to bring you down here closer to where you could get on a bus stop and then get to the university, or just go straight to the university. The DART system just doesn't go all the way out there.
And that is a good, that's a good point, because so the UT Dallas is in the city of Richardson, but the DART does go up to the Plano area, at least some parts of Plano. And anything with Texas and transportation, you have to say some parts of, pretty much, because it doesn't go everywhere. So, maybe if you don't want to ride the Uber or Lyft, which is, an Uber or Lyft from Frisco all the way down to Richardson, maybe you could do it from Frisco to Plano, and then, get off at the Plano, like a bus transit place, and then get on the bus in Plano to take it to Richardson. Once again, I don't know the cost for that. If you plan it out, you can go on Google Maps. Google Maps, I would say, pretty much has this area updated for the most part, the Richardson, Plano, Frisco area. So you can go on Google Maps, put in your temporary accommodation in Frisco address, and then UT Dallas, address, and see what Google Maps says. I think Google Maps may even have, I don't know if it has Uber or Lyft. Okay, maybe it doesn't, but it can maybe show you like for the bus portion of it. So you can, play around with different modalities and kind of see, maybe one is faster, maybe one is less expensive. So yeah, I would say that's what we would recommend. You can either mix your modes of transport, or you can just do one, whichever you prefer. Okay, and there is a question here from Shradesh. What are some good options for Airbnb hotels and motels that are around or close to the campus? So Katie had posted in the chat, we do have a website on the ICP page, and we do have some information there for housing, how you can, some resources for accessing housing. We are, once again, and I said this earlier, we're not able to give out names of particular Airbnb hosts or hostesses. Neither are we able to do that for hotels or motels. So speaking with students that are currently here, that currently have experienced these places, is going to be the #1 way. And then also, just general, if you want to do a general search, Google. I highly recommend Google. That can have a general search. You can look on Google reviews. I know that, not every review, some may be fake or some may be paid. But I would say for the most part, in my experience, for searching for accommodations, Google is a good resource. So you can read the Google reviews of the place that you are going to. Usually it has like up to 5 stars, so you can determine what is comfortable for you, how many stars a place needs to have for you to, want to stay there. But once again, I highly recommend if you get in touch with the group that ICF has, and if you join that group, the friend group, and you can talk to people who are actually here to get actual recommendations of names of places that we cannot give you names, but they can do that easier than we can. Anything to?
Was also a student group called Road Warriors at UTD. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's a good resource to have as well. I think it's a student organization. If you go to roadwarriors.utdallas.edu, I believe that's the website. I could put that in the chat. But they, as far as commuting and also some information about hotels, I think they also have that on their website as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that, Darren. Yes, Road Warriors is another student organization that is here at UT Dallas, and they are an organization for students that commute to campus, because, on a university campus, you have students that kind of live on all the time, and so maybe they don't really have these questions about transportation. But when you have to commute, then you do have those questions. So yes, Road Warriors is a great resource.
Actually, thank you for mentioning Road Warriors, Darren, because if you haven't completed your pre-arrival modules yet, this is your reminder to do it. But I also, in the e-learning organization in pre-arrival modules, I have the Road Warriors Commuter Student Guide in the extra resources folder for the pre-arrival modules, because Alex, the assistant director who runs the Road Warriors organization, so kindly gave me the PDF Commuter Student Guide from Road Warriors, and it has a wealth of resources for all of you who are going to be living off campus. So searching for apartments, those students who are looking for how to set up utilities, how to get to campus, what should you be considering when you're searching for those apartments, all of that. So thank you, Darren. I completely forgot about Road Warriors. And so I have that Commuter Student Guide in the e-learning extra resources folder. So take a look at that.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, we do have a question here. I believe, Darren, you had already asked question. You have already answered the question about the form asking for a telephone number. And also in regards to address, is that field required, a US address? Well, I guess if you're signing up for an airport pickup, you would need to have an address of where you're going, right? Is that field required?
If you're filling out the Big Howdy one, you can put you don't have an address yet. What we will do with that though is as you arrive, we will ask you again, hey, where is your drop-off location? That way we do have it before you arrive, so we can make sure, okay, this person has a place to stay. So.
And that's what the ICF forms, any of the forms that you fill out, if it is required, just put what Jordan said, just say you haven't arrived yet, you don't have a permanent location or something to that effect. We still want to help you out as much as possible. So even if it is required, just put that it's not available right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have another question from Varun. It's asking about identity documents from our country of origin. What identity documents are needed, or if the passport suffices. So I can tell you, in the United States, I would say your passport from your from the whatever country you are a citizen of, that you're using that passport to enter the United States. That is pretty much the identification that you will need. I mean, if you want to bring with you, for example, if you have a driver's license, if you want to bring that with you, you can do that. But for the most part in the United States, they recognize, or a lot of people are more familiar with US issued identifications. So your passport is going to be the most official, and you can use that to, any place that you go to that's asking for, like, a picture ID or government issued ID, your passport should suffice. But once again, it is a long trip. So if you want to be sure, you can always take things with you. Just make sure that when you do get here, you put them away carefully, and so that you don't lose them or misplace them. But typically your official passport, if you go to a place and they ask for ID, and you don't have like a Texas driver's license or a driver's license from another state in America, then your passport should suffice. But once again, I don't know all the things that you need to take care of in your life, so think about it for yourself. And if you want to be precautionary, I would bring whatever things that you think you need to be kind of, maybe more proactive about, if that is how you feel. So. Okay, so we have another question, a question from Ambuj. This question says, how do I move furniture to on-campus housing? Okay, Katie already answered the question, but so on-campus housing, typically, that is handled by the housing office, which is what Katie put in the chat. So if you contact housing@utdallas.edu, there typically is like a move-in day for people who are living on campus. I have worked that event before, and it's a lot of furniture, but it's a lot of fun. And it's not furniture per se, it's just a lot of things being moved in. So, but the housing office will be able to help you as they handle on-campus housing. So housing@utdallas.edu, and ask them the very same question, and they can give you more information for how to move in your furniture. Okay, and the last question that we have in the chat says, is it safe to carry a passport every place? Do we have any other options as international students? I heard we can get some sort of Texas ID as an international student. So I do know that for in terms of ID, so we do have the Comet card. Comet card is your student ID. So actually, you don't need to carry your passport with you every place. I would just carry your Comet card, which is your student ID. So that has your identification that you are a student at a local, university. And I think that should suffice. But Katie, what do you think?
So we mentioned this in the pre-arrival modules, so I'm going to put another plug-in to watch the pre-arrival modules. It's required for all of you who are new graduate F1 students. So you have two options if you want to get a local U.S. identification. So you can get a driver's license if you plan to drive here in the United States, or you can get a state identification. So a Texas state identification card. Almost identical to a driver's license, except it doesn't give you driving privileges. And so you can actually get this on the Texas Department of Transportation website. And so I'm the queen of the pre-arrival modules. That's what I like to say. So I recorded this information. And so really, if you go to the Department of Transportation website, you can find all the information on how to apply for a state identification card. And it's going to be, you apply and you get your picture on it, you'll have your address on it. And so this is really convenient to carry around. So it can give you proof of age. For example, maybe you want to go out to a bar and have a drink. So, and you need to prove that you're over the age of 21 because that's the drinking age in the US. And so
Or
maybe
21.
you want to have, pardon me?
Or 21, or prove that you are
Yes,
21.
21 or over. Or you're over the age of 18 and you want to buy a pack of cigarettes or something like that. So I'm not, advocating for any of this. I'm just saying you need to prove your age, because sometimes you do need to prove your age if you have to purchase something or cash a check, anything like that. They'll want to see a photo ID. And so it is safer to carry a state identification than your passport. Absolutely. You might want to lock up your passport in your apartment or in a safety deposit box at a bank or something like that. That's something that personally I choose to do. I lock my passport in my home somewhere and I carry around my driver's license instead. And so many students choose to do this. So yes, absolutely, it is an option for you to either get a driver's license if you want to drive or a state identification card. There is a cost associated with it. I truly don't know how much it costs. I don't think it's very much money, but you can do that. You can go to the Department of Transportation website and you can find that information. Like I said, it's all in our pre-arrival modules, and I believe we have it posted on our travel website, as does the ISSO. And so you can find all of that information online, and it's very easy to do. So for driving, of course, you'll need to take a written test and a driver's test. For the state identification, it's really just an application and you'll take your picture, so look pretty that day or handsome that day and make sure you look nice. And absolutely, but you will, like Tamara said, you'll also have a comment card, and sometimes the comment card will get you discounts at places, but that doesn't always work as proof of age or things like that. Your driver's license or your state identification works a little bit better for that.
Thank you, Katie. And I knew about the state ID, but you answered it a lot easier than I think I would. So thank you. And yes, once again, a reminder for the pre-arrival modules. Pre-arrival modules are required as a part of orientation, whether you're attending orientation online or in person. So please make sure to do both pre-arrival modules and orientation. They are required. They go together. Okay, there was a question here. Thank you so much, Darren, for answering that. Someone was asking about airport pickups after, if they were arriving later. We know that some students may be arriving later in the semester. And so the response to that was just to email us, because I'm sure at this point it is not, I'm sure y'all don't know as yet. At this point, it might be too soon to say. Okay, and then we are going to get to the last question, and then we are going to go ahead and wrap up. There was a question about persons who have booked an unfurnished apartment. Do these people move straight away into the apartment on the day of arrival, or is it better to look for temporary accommodation for a day or two? What do you think, Darren and Jordan?
So if you are like we've mentioned, go ahead and try to book your permanent housing where you're going to be before you arrive. We do have a lot of students who come over and don't have furniture right when they get here, and they do stay at their location. Now, I will say you will want to arrange with your apartment or whatever your housing is going to be. You will want to arrange with them like when to get your keys. Because if you're arriving over the weekend, that might be a little bit more difficult. And so giving them a heads up of, hey, can I get my keys on this day, or is there someone that could meet me to do that? Something like that. They might be able to arrange something, but if you like show up that day and expect your keys to be ready and you haven't communicated that, it might be difficult. So again, just kind of communicate with them. If anything, over communicate. Let them know, like, hey, I am arriving on Sunday afternoon. Usually leasing houses aren't open on Sundays, but maybe there can be someone there to let you in. If you are over communicating and letting them know what the need is and why, like, it's important that you try to get into your place as soon as possible. Again, a lot of people do move into an unfurnished apartment and stay there a day or two as they just get rest and then try to find stores. Again, our volunteers are also available. If you get connected with our Big Howdy volunteers and they pick you up in the airport, if you do need to stop at a store to get a pillow or to get a blanket or whatever that is, our volunteers are more than willing to do that. You just need to communicate that with us. They may even ask you, hey, we need to stop somewhere to get you something? Don't feel like you have to say no. They are asking because they want to help. And so if they ask you that, don't be afraid to say, yeah, actually, can we stop at a store so I can get a pillow or something to eat or something like that? So.
Yes, thank you for that, Jordan. Very good points. Stressing the importance of communicating with your apartment that you're coming into. And also, that does beg the point, if you do have any updates, it is important to communicate that. If you do have any changes, communicate that to your apartment complex, if your flight got canceled or, whatever the situation might be. And I could see why students would move into an unfurnished apartment because, having a roof over your head is so important. So it's like, okay, I need to get a roof over my head first, and then I can fill this roof with, with things later on. But where are you going to lay your head? So I could see why someone would do that. Especially if you find a location that you want and all of these things with the place. And yes, move in and then you can furnish it after. So very good points. Okay, there is a question here, and this is the last question. We'll go ahead and close out from Ambuj. It says, which ICF home group should I join? I think, Darren, you said you don't need to necessarily pick one only. Well, for the home groups, maybe one, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't say this, but I would encourage you to try a lot of them, as many of them as you can, but also attend the welcome party because all the home group volunteers will be at the welcome party. And so, and the reason I encourage you to attend more than one is you'll connect with one more than the other, probably, you'll find some connections. So I would just encourage you to sign up, show up for the welcome party and sign up for all of them or as many as you can. Because some of them will meet at different times as well. So, yeah, I know there's students. I'm part of the Mosaic home group. So if you want to join mine, feel free to join Mosaic. But I also have students that come to my home group, but they also attend 2 or 3 other home groups as well. So, yeah, it's a good opportunity to meet a lot of people, but also it's a good encouragement to come to the welcome party because all the home groups will be there.
Awesome. Very good point. Okay, well, I think we have come to the end of our questions in the chat and also with the raised hands. Thank you so much again, Darren and Jordan. Do you have anything you want to close out with, Darren, before we close out?
No, I'm just appreciate the opportunity to meet you guys and looking forward to seeing you guys as well. So hopefully you can get your visas approved and be on campus. If not, we'll still connect with you online.
Great. Thank you so much. And we do have some thank yous coming into the chat. Thank you to the ICP team, Leticia, Kaylee, Flower. Thank you again to Jordan and Darren for being here with us. As a reminder, this event is being recorded by ICP and will be made available on the orientation website. There will be a link where it says to go to YouTube videos. If you click on that YouTube videos text, it will hyperlink you to YouTube. Please allow up to 48 hours for us to edit and kind of do some post-production stuff. But thank y'all once again for being here and helping serve our community. I'm very grateful to you. Everyone, wherever you are, we hope to see you soon. Please continue to stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie.